Hello everyone. The topic is inter-process communication in operating system. So beginning with what is our inter-process communication is like there are several processes executing at the same time. So we need some kind of communication mechanism which enables one process to communicate with the other process. So before going to that picture, we need to understand what are the two ways of process classification when communication comes into picture. See, processes can be of several types, but when communication is taken as domain, the process can be of two categories. Number one is independent process and number two is cooperating process. So what is independent process? As the name suggests, independent, they are free. These processes don't share data with anyone, any other process. It is like they don't affect other process and are not also affected from any other process. You can imagine is with the hostel thing, there are many kinds of rooms. Some rooms are singly allocated to some students. So that kind of thing is like independent process. That particular student don't interrupt in other rooms and other rooms are not allowed to interrupt in that room. The one is going to be there in that room alone. So that is the independent process. It don't share its room with any other student. Similarly, independent processes don't share the data with any other process. Likewise, the cooperating process share the data with other processes. Similarly, so when we have a sharing room, we share that room. Similarly, when processes are cooperating in nature, they will share the data. They are affected and can affect other processes. So now, why cooperating processes are there? Why it is so? First one is for the information sharing thing. Information sharing is a very important aspect when we deals with multi-programming. For example, one kind of user is interested in a particular piece of information. Other kind of user may also be interested in that only. For example, if you are referring iExamB website, you are not only the one who is going to log in and do some task. There will be so many other students also logging into the same iExamB website. So this is what is the information sharing. The same information is shared with all other students. So first is the cooperating process needed to share the information. Second is the computation speed. Suppose I have a big task. So I will divide it into further tasks and will execute those tasks simultaneously. So what will happen? A big task is divided and will execute in a parallel way. So the speed of the computation, the time that is needed to complete the execution of that big task is now reduced. Other aspects are modularity. Modularity means it is the approach of dividing the process into sub-processes or threads. What we deal with if we have a modular approach. Suppose a program P1 is divided into several processes PR1, PR2 and PR3. And if PR3 fails, then we will only restart PR3 only. We don't need to do PR1 and PR2 again. But if we don't do this and if P1 fails due to this particular part of the code, then we have to execute this P1 again. And by doing so, PR1 and PR2 will also be executed. So keeping modularity, dividing the things into the modules help us to get a modular approach. Now, what is the convenience thing? It is like there can be various tasks a user want to perform simultaneously. Suppose I have a system and what I want to do, I want to take print, I want to open a web browser, I want to edit a file. These all things I can do simultaneously if I have process cooperating in nature. These all three processes will cooperate with each other and provide the user a convenience to do many tasks at the same time. Now, how the communication is done in the inter-process communication? So it is done via two ways: shared memory concept and message passing concept. So coming to the shared memory concept, this is all about the overall view of the shared memory concept. So what we have here is like we have a process P1 and a process P2 and they bonds to communicate with each other. So how they will communicate? First part is of shared memory. They can communicate via shared memory. So shared memory is shared area of the memory that is shared between the two process P1 and P2. So P1 and P2 will be sharing this particular block of memory. They will be writing into this memory, they will be reading from this memory, and they have to maintain a consistency that P1 and P2 don't write at the same time. It will be in a conflicting situation then. They need to take care that if P1 writes, then P2 can not write. If P1 read, then P2 can also read. But conflicting operation should be avoided. And this is all taken care in shared memory. Who creates the shared memory? Suppose process P1 created the shared memory. So shared memory will lies in the memory mapping of P1. When P2 wants to communicate to P1 via shared memory, it will link that particular memory part to its memory space. It will link it. But ultimately, shared memory lies with P1 because it is the creator of the memory. Now, a shared memory is a space created for cooperating process. Shared memory region resides in the address space of the process which has created it. And other process it wants to communicate has to link its address to the address space of the shared memory. Process take care of the things that they do not write at the same time in the memory. So there one question should come into your mind that what we read earlier is like operating system don't allow one process to get into memory space of another process. It is not allowed in the operating system. But what here shared memory does, it removes that conflict. It removes that restriction that one process cannot get into the memory space of the other process. It allows one process to get into the memory space of the other process. The area of the memory or the amount of memory, the size of the memory is decided by those processes which are going to communicate with each other. It has nothing to do with the operating system. Operating system says, okay, P1 and P2 wants to communicate to each other via shared memory. So you both please decide which area of the memory you want to get and what amount of memory you want to get. I won't be allocating this to you. This is also your responsibility, and you also have to take care that you don't write at the same time in the shared memory because it will lead to conflict. Next is the message passing thing. So message passing things deals with the messages. How? Earlier we saw there was a shared memory in the memory space. Now what we have system calls here. How it works? If P1 wants to communicate to P2, it has to do it via system call. So P1 will dial to kernel and say, okay, I want to communicate to P2. So kernel will say, okay, you want to communicate to P2, just do it by the system call. Why system calls came into the picture? Because you are doing the communication via kernel, and kernel can be only contacted by a special call, that is the system call. So here process A passes a message to the kernel and then kernel passes the same message to the process B. So flow goes like here 1, then here goes 2. So communication takes place with the help of message. This involves with the smaller amount of data because you have to pass the messages, and if the message is very big in amount, so it will be difficult to pass a message. So message passing is used whenever we have short amount of data to transmit from one process to other process, where a shared memory is used where we have to transmit a very big amount of data between the process. One more thing is there, system calls are involved when we deal with message passing, and that's why message passing technique is slower than shared memory technique, because shared memory technique does not operate or does not call kernel to intervene in between the process communication, but message passing technique does this. So it is slower in nature as compared to the shared memory. We will understand the whole shared memory concept with a very popular example of producer-consumer scenario. So what we are going to do is, what is the role of producer? To produce something. What is the role of consumer? To consume whatever is produced. So do you think consumer consumes at the rate which producer produces? Or you can say producer produces at the rate which consumer consumes. Are they always in a sync? No, they are not in a sync. Sometimes producer produces more and consumer consumes less. Sometimes producer produces less and consumer wants to consume more. So these kind of scenarios are there where consumer is not aware how much producer is producing and producer is not aware how much consumer is consuming. For example, server and the client. So server will produce the result and client will consume those results. But we don't know the speed of these two. So we create a buffer in between. Here a buffer is created. What a buffer will do, it will tell the producer, okay, you want to produce by some particular method, do it and then give it to me. Consumer, you want to consume anything? Okay, consume it from me. Okay, this is a whole the process associated with the buffer. Buffer acts as an intermediary which establish a particular equilibrium between the producer and the consumer. So this buffer is implemented with the help of shared memory in operating system. So this buffer is shared by both producer and the both consumer, and they both perform read and write operation, like producer perform write operation and consumer reads from this. So it was a classic example of shared memory in producer consumer environment. So this was all about how one process communicate to the other process in the operating system. So we are done with the IPC mechanism.